Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Jace, aka NeoQor, once again in the studio. And for whatever reason, it's really, really cold in Texas right now. Well, it's cold for us. It's like in the 40s, which is probably not that cold to some of you. But for this time of year, it's surprisingly cold. And it's really chilly in my studio. So I'm going to try to make the studio warmer by cooking up a fire ass kick and also by turning on my space heater. Also, side note, if you hear any kind of like noise in the background, like a vent or something, that's my space heater, and I am not turning it off. All right, so yeah, today I'm just gonna dive right in, and we're just gonna try to make a really girthy kick. So without further ado, I got my 3X OSC open right now. Got my tempo set to 180. Yeah, it's my 3X OSC right here. Right now it's just set to sine waves. So we're just gonna keep it on sine waves. And I'm gonna go to my envelope and I'm gonna set all these guys. We're just gonna make it just like a sharp graph. You turn the hold time down, turn the sustain down a bit, give it a little bit of a tail in the release. Then we're gonna go and fill each 4 steps on the 3X OSC. We're gonna send it to the piano roll, and that's too high, so we're gonna bump it down an octave by hitting Control. We're gonna highlight it all, hit Control, and then go down. And let's see how it sounds now. Okay. So I need to shorten that a little bit more. I think I'm going to actually set this to saw waves. That's too high. It just sounds like a bass note right now, but it shan't for much longer. So we're gonna go to the pitch envelope, and we're gonna turn the attack down. We're gonna do all this good stuff, shorten all these envelopes until the only thing you have that you're turning up is the decay, and you're gonna turn the decay up just slightly. And this knob here, this is the amount of pitch automation that's applied to the sound. So you want to turn that up. Basically what that does is it creates a really short envelope in which the sound is pitched up at the very beginning for a very short time, which gives the sound of it gives like a punch sound or like a snap sound at the beginning. So let's see how it sounds. So that's a little better, it sounds a little more like a punch. Let me lengthen the decay a little bit. You may be wondering why it just turned purple. I just switched up here. You can switch between the control of the time, the actual length of the envelopes, and the tension of each line, which can make the lines bendy. Much like on an automation clip, you can make the line more of a hill or more of a valley shape, and that has an effect on like the length and how your sound is shaped, more or less. So I just kind of brought that tension in a little bit, just to kind of shorten the attack or shorten the pitch automation. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on over to the resonance envelope. We're gonna do kind of the same thing, because resonance, when you have a low pass filter set on this thing, resonance basically just kind of boosts certain high frequencies, and we want a little bit more of a high end snap at the beginning of our sound. So let me turn the metronome off so we can hear the actual sound a little bit better. turn this up just a bit. Now the resonance, you don't need to go crazy on. You just turn it up just a little bit. So now it sounds a little bit more like a something of a drum. It's got that percussive sound to it at the beginning. So you can also mess around with the different types of waveforms for each oscillator, and you can use that to kind of shape your sound and change the character of your kick. So let's do that. Let's play around with it. Why not? Brody. Nope. I kind of actually like the square waves a little more. That's kind of fun. Gives me kind of a Warface vibe. I feel like he uses a lot of, or he, they, whoever the hell produces for Warface. I feel like not trying to call any shot. I'm trying to fire any shots or anything. I don't know actually who does it, but whoever it is, they do a good job. They make a lot of good stuff. Yeah, so I feel like there's a little more of a snap with that square wave, but it's a little bit too high for my taste, so I'm going to turn this down. No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift it down. I'm going to shift the note itself down another octave because Thug Life. Let's just keep it at C3. Let's agree to just do that. All right. Yeah, let's do that. So, give me my 3OSC back. You can also play with and this is all just settings that you can just mess around with in the plugin itself before you even get to putting effects on. Like, I highly advise and highly recommend that you just play around with the plugin settings first, because before you lump a bunch of plugins on it and effects and all that kind of stuff, in the effects chain, you want to get the original sound to sound as good and as dope as possible. It's all about how you start. If you start with a good sound, then it'll be easier when you put more effects on it. If you start with a trash sound and you just lump effects on it, you might be able to salvage it. You might be able to get it to sound good, but you might end up just polishing a turd. So, not bad. We can play around with the fine pitch. What the hell? I kind of like it with one saw wave, actually. That's kind of cool. I'm all for that stereo stuff. That's really cool to use with synths and stuff, but not for your kicks. You don't want a bunch of not in the beginning. You don't want a bunch of stereo separation on your main kick sound. You can do that later with other layers to add to your kick sound, but not with your original sound. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. You know what? Let's go with this and kick layer 1 is what we're gonna name it. So now it's kick layer 1. We're gonna send it to insert 1 on the mixer, and let's go to town on it. Let's make some stuff happen. So I like to use Camel Crusher a lot. Crap. It's always fun to play with the different presets on this plugin. I'm gonna go with the for this tutorial. I'm gonna go with the destroyer plug setting, because you know, I don't want to just subject you to me just sitting here cycling through presets all night, because this is gonna be a really long tutorial if I end up doing that. So we're gonna go with the destroyer preset. Yeah, you know, I like that. And let's put a EQ before it. As you've noticed, if you put an EQ before your distortion, the slightest changes can really affect the character of your sound. So I also highly recommend just playing with that. That's a fun thing you can do that will really help. I find that boosting the bass pre-distortion can also give it kind of a beefier sound. You don't want to go too crazy with it, but you know, let me show you what I'm talking about. So that's fun right there, boosting that, and then, you know, you can go to town with it. So, because basically what you're doing is you're driving specific tones higher through the distortion, so it's you know, it's boosting it more and more through the distortion plugin and then clipping it. So, you know, you can boost those frequencies that you want to be more apparent in your kick before you distort them to, you know, kind of shape the character of your kick. Excuse me. Right. So the next thing we want to do is, you know what? Let's Fruity Blood Overdrive. I know I did a little video about this guy for my first tutorial video, and I'm about to show you what can be done with it. So let me turn this down just a bit, because it's going to get really loud here in just a minute. So one of the best knobs on this plugin is the times 100. If I want to crush the living shit out of something and make it sound so angry, like a robotic T-Rex fighting a megalodon, I don't know. And, you know, meanwhile, tripods from War of the Worlds are destroying everything. Then I turn this on, and you typically, for this kind of stuff, for heavy distortion, yeah, I'll use times 100, or at least I'll try that first and see how it sounds before I decide not to. Yeah. So you see what I'm talking about? It gets loud quick. So let's play with the settings a little more. Yeah, buddy. So the one thing I have noticed though is the talk of this kick is getting kind of squished. It's not sounding as nice. It sounds real muddy and kind of gross. But I do like the tail of the kick. I like how the tail's coming out. So what we'll probably do is cut the talk, or cut the beginning of this kick out, and then we're going to take another talk and we're going to layer it, and we're going to create kind of a crossover in terms of the timing of the two sounds. So they're going to be layered together, and we're going to make it sound like one sound. Let me see where I'm at. How am I doing on time? I have absolutely no idea because I'm not timing myself. Right. So, Blood Overdrive. Yeah. So you make it angry and you make it girthy. So really it's just, you know, EQing, distort, and then we're going to EQ again. apologies to anybody whose ears I just hurt with that. Yeah, you kind of gotta kill some of the or cut some of the really annoying, obnoxious tinny frequencies. But in order to do that, I'll boost it a little bit and I'll sweep across. I generally do a lot of cuts from like 2K to 4K hertz, because those tones in that range are generally pretty annoying, especially when I listen to stuff through my car and my Sony headphones. The tones in that range are really, really apparent, and the longer I've been producing, the more I've realized that, stuff in that range, too much stuff in that range can make your stuff sound like it's coming through a really tinny, like a Big Ten horn or something. It just doesn't sound good. So I make a lot of cuts in this range. You don't want to go too crazy with it, but you just season to taste. But if it's really ringy, really tinny sounding, when you're making a sound, then typically it's that range that's to blame for that. So wow, we're overdriving the mixer right now. So I'm gonna put another distortion on it. Let me try Buzz Effect adapter. This is another distortion plugin. I think this is stock with FL. Pretty sure I got this stock. I downloaded so many plugins though that I don't even remember what's stock and what's not sometimes. So you go to select machine. What the freak? And then you go to patches. I think, oh boy. Plugin presets. ST, nope. Okay, well, I will do that in I will use that in a tutorial some other time, because I am not going to go searching through folders for this video, for this plugin. Very sorry for anybody who is excited to see that plugin. I'll do that in another video. So let's actually put another Camel Crush here on it. And my generic distortion go-to for this is the default preset Annihilate, just because it's nice. It's a good level of crunch. But I don't know, there's some cool sounds in those other ones too. Tube Warmth is another one I like to use a lot, actually. It's pretty fun. Yeah, I'm indecisive, honestly. I think I'm gonna. I like Tube Warmth a lot because it preserves a lot of the low end, and it doesn't sound too crushed, and it's a nice warm sound, but it's still got that crunch to it. So I think I'm gonna go with Tube Warmth. So, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and stop there. We have a pretty decent sounding kick, or at least a decent sounding start to a kick. It still needs work. So, remember, making kicks, it's, get your sound right to begin with before you start putting effects on it. That's really important. play around and make sure you have a good sound to start with, a good bass, a good foundation. And then once you start piling the effects on, it's a lot of distorting and a lot of EQing. Everybody will say that. Everybody will say that. Doesn't matter what DAW you're using. Doesn't matter what plugins you're using to EQ and distort. That's pretty much the sequence of things. And it doesn't have to be EQ distort, EQ distort, EQ distort. I mean, you can go EQ, EQ distort. It doesn't really matter. The pattern, that's generally the two main things that you'll be doing when you're making a kick. For this kick, the next thing we're going to need to do is add a separate layer to make like a punch layer, because the punch in this kick has been pretty much destroyed. I mean, we can preserve some of it, but we're probably gonna fade a lot of it out. And then also, I'm gonna show you guys how to add a sub layer to the kick, and we're gonna just do some more layering. So now that I have a good sound to work with, or at least a good bass, this session, what I'll do is I'm gonna go into Edison, and I'm going to clone this pattern, but I'm only going to make one note. I'm going to hit record. I'm going to hit play. Wow. That's way longer than what we needed, but it's cool. It really is cool. I mean, you can make long kicks with that, So we're just going to make it one beat. We're still recording, so we're going to just delete that. Hit record again. We're going to go. All right. That's not what I wanted to do. So we're going to delete these extra ones. Zoom in here. We're just going to delete the... It's really important when you're saving something as a sample to make sure you get all the excess silence off from the very beginning of the sound, because when you bring it into a sampler, if you have any extra like dead space at the beginning, it can throw off the timing of when your sample triggers when you throw it into the sequencer. So make sure that you have it like exact as possible. All right. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just delete all this excess at the end. And then I'm going to go from the end here. I'm going to hit fade out just to kind of get rid of a little bit of that gross muddy sound at the end of it. So we're going to save this. Patches. Yep. And I'm going to save it in my hardcore sounds folder. I did not mean to make a new folder. I know you guys probably can't see what I'm doing because I'm only recording I'm only recording the main window of FL. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the other windows to show. I need to take some time to really look into that. I have not had the chance to do that, and I apologize. So I'm gonna call this hardcore kick layer 1, and I'm gonna put today's date, which is the 15th of October. And we're going to hit save. And so now I have a good, look at that fat sausage of a kick sample. It's so friggin' fat and girthy. Look at that. That's what I mean by girth. You know what I mean? It's fat and it's loud and it's thick, and it's clipped. It's once you want your kicks to be, you want your kicks to sound good also, but it's nice to have kicks that are fat too. Of course, you want them to have a little bit of dynamic range with the punch and all, but when you go to mix everything down, master it, you won't have a bunch of crazy peaks and valleys. Your overall track will be pretty loud and pretty level. Um, what with all the distortion that you that you're probably going to be using, everything like that. For a genre like gabber, hardcore, loudness is not really like a lot of loudness is not bad. You know, dynamic range is good, but like don't be afraid to go loud with it. Just find the right balance, I guess is all I am really saying. So we got that nice little sample there, and in the next video, I'm going to continue working on this kick. I'm going to add a talk, I'm going to add a sub layer, I'm going to flesh it out, maybe add some more layers. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for sticking with me on this video. I hope this has been helpful. If you find value in this video, please tell your friends and your homies about my mailing list. Have them sign up, and yeah, just keep on working, keep on practicing, and I'll see you. I'll see you. I'll see you next week. I'll see you next week for another Tip Tuesday video. Peace.